Hello, lovely viewers, and welcome back to our cozy corner of YouTube called Survive the Shows. Today, we have a very special episode in store for you. We are here today with Brianna Cohen and Jonathan Stoddard. They will portray Jessica and Matt on the new Lifetime thriller movie, Secret Love Triangle. Welcome and thank you for being here today.
Thank you. We're so excited.
Yeah, thank you.
So let's begin. For Brianna, what drew you to the role of Jessica in the Secret Love Triangle, especially considering the complexity of the character situation?
Sure. Well, when I first read, not even the script yet, but the sides for the audition, I was in jail and I found out I got to break out of jail. So I said, sign me up right away. I don't need to read anymore. This is an actor's dream, bucket list. I just thought, we had this scene which between John um, and me, and it was this just beautiful scene between this couple where he comes to visit me in jail, and that was the audition side. And I just saw so many layers and so much love and hurt and all of these, like you said, complexities in this one scene that it really sold me. So I was excited to see, how it was going to play out. And it was my first movie in LA, so that was another thing that drew me to it. So it was a great crew and a great script, so I couldn't say no.
Great. And for Jonathan, what aspects of Matt's personality or journey did you find the most challenging to portray in the movie?
Oh, that's interesting. He's, fortunately, he's not just like a completely terrible person. He does do some bad stuff. But I'll say it's like in general, it's harder for me to connect with people that or characters that just don't see like a remorse with their actions or don't have, a storyline arc, so they can just kind of like do bad things, and they're never really addressed, or their character is never really addressed, or their sense of morality is never really addressed. But I will say with Matt, fortunately, he goes through the arc. So even though he does do some not great things, he does have an interesting kind of resolve by the end. So I, to me, that keeping that overarching journey in mind makes the character less difficult to portray, if that makes sense. So at this point, Um, yeah, yeah. So I'd say it was actually pretty wonderful. It was easy to sit into his character and that arc, because I do agree with that kind of an arc of just retribution, or just people being able to, come. I don't know. It's not have a good ending, but like, because he doesn't. But just finding that resolve, and then of course it's easy when you're working with people you already know as well. And so stepping into that kind of stuff with character exploration is always wonderful and idyllic. Yeah, it's just an ideal situation.
I'll
Great.
add to that. Yeah, something that draws me to characters too, just personally and in my own writing and things, is, I love this kind of idea of, like you said, what's the word, like, coming back and doing over, and when something happens, really being able to kind of a phoenix rising from the ashes. I think that it's really kind of a fun thing to play. And these characters, really, there was a lot of real stuff that grounded with them, and we got to deal with their memories, and we got to deal with all different, Lori and my relationship, and John and my relationship, and all of these different things that I thought that the writer really really thought about, and that made the job easier and more fun for us in the end.
Yeah,
Great.
100%.
And for Brianna, in what ways do you think Jessica's journey mirror or contrast with typical narratives of female characters in similar thrillers?
Ooh, how is she similar or different than other characters in similar
Yeah, yeah.
thrillers? So I've done a few thrillers for the Lifetime Network, And some of them follow a formula that works really, really well. Again, there was something different about this and grittier. Um, and and I didn't even mention with the character Catherine Nunez plays. She's like my jailmate, my jail best friend. We have some really great conversations, and there's some really big questions that Jess has to decide. And she really gets thrown into this web, and there's a lot of different ways that it can go. So I think that opposed to some other thrillers that I've done, there were a lot of kind of question marks that I think will keep the viewers on their toes. That, it's like, well, is she going to forgive him? Is she going to punish him? Is she mad? Does she still love her best friend and her husband? Does she blame herself? And there's a lot of questions here that you see the character kind of go through in real time, and that was something that was really fun, and I think viewers are going to love watching along with that.
Great.
Well, even a who did it.
A who done it, exactly. Exactly.
We don't know.
We don't know.
Yeah.
And we had a great support team, a great group of actors. Something I love about these thrillers is that there's always such a good, like ensemble feel. And we pulled some really great people together that really shine, and which of course helps us shine. And you know, even in the good times, I mean, I loved filming that birthday scene. There were a lot of elements. It was late at night.
Yeah.
We had props and lighting and sound and food, which is always fun to reset, and knives and fake knives. But that was fun to have kind of like a good moment, because there's a lot of memory and flashbacks in this movie, which is a great kind of storytelling technique that was a lot of fun also to play.
Well, and to piggyback that as well, it's like what's interesting about this kind of movie there's so much stuff laced into everything. So even the flashbacks had so much complexity and layers. Each character really, because they weren't just like, oh, these are the happy memories from back when. These were the memories that she's reliving and then starting to kind of like realize or notice how they were actually off and how they didn't make sense, or how there was so much more being brought to the surface, when remembering it. So the different looks, the just there's in every scene.
Yeah. I mean, that brings to mind our scene at the counter, right? When we're cleaning up from dinner. It's really good.
Yeah.
And I mean, I've seen like a few snippets that I stole during the ADR session, but even the way that they shot the memories, and the different coloring and kind of, the way that that Kaila had us play them. It's interesting. I mean, I love that. Like, I'm a big fan of The Affair, that TV show, and they kind of do that where different characters remember different things differently. And memory plays a trick on you like that often in real life. And so that was fun to play with and explore and have that woven in.
Yeah.
Great. And for Jonathan, what were the most intriguing or surprising aspects of Matt and Jessica's relationship dynamics for you as an actor?
Oh, intriguing. They go through some interesting, fun, dysfunctional stuff. I I kind of say I will say that I kind of wish that it well, I was just saying there are parts at the end that I kind of wish are different. It doesn't fit the concept of a thriller and suspects at the end that were different, for our character, because it's left in a little like and and I wanted there to be something a little more definitive. But I don't know. Our journey is really interesting. It's from helping each other, but also knowing and internalizing the guilt and the struggle. It's hard to answer the question without giving too much away.
And for both of you, what were the most emotionally challenging scene for you to film, if you can say?
Yeah.
Ooh.
Yeah, I don't think it's giving away that, because it says that I was wrongly, so Jessica, it says in the log line that's already out that Jessica was wrongly charged for the murder of her best friend's husband. So, she's arrested. And there's a point where, like I said, the audition scene, I think for me was something that was emotional and I wanted to get right. And, but it was just me and John. And that was a great scene. Maybe the courtroom scenes, even though they weren't very long, or maybe the scene where we see each other again for the first time after in the house. John's frozen.
I feel like you're asking me, and I don't know.
Right, you're like, I'm not you. Yeah, those, I guess. Those 2 or 3.
Okay.
I'm probably forgetting a really good one.
I think one of the most interesting scenes for Matt is the first time that he sees her after prison.
Yeah.
With the interesting complexity of having to face some of his guilt for things that he's done, but also what is the right course of action? Should he turn her in? And because there are things that happen, being convicted of murdering her, and it's not really when you're trying to put love against the law. That's a very interesting idea. Individual desire versus the punishment, like legal punishment, and helping somebody, helping a convicted felon, and
supposed convicted felon. Well, I was convicted, right?
Accused or not, but the idea. Well, if he gets arrested or the police get him, and then there's again, it's like that's a layer. His guilt is a layer, for things that he did that weren't great, that aided in it, and then even his abandonment of the issue after the fact. There's a lot of interesting stuff to lean into for just the complexity of those first handful of scenes when we're back together. So I'd say that kind of sticks out.
Great.
I like that. I'd agree.
And for Brianna, how did you navigate Jessica's shifting trust and loyalty as untangled the web of deceit surrounding her?
How did I manage the loyalties and untangling the web of deceit?
Yeah.
Well, it's tough when the 2 people that you seem, thank God I haven't experienced something like this in my life, but to really try and sink into the 2 people that you trust the most, your husband, your partner, and your best friend and business partner, she was also, to find that they're both the ones that are betraying you and really put you in a very bad position, the worst position that to be arrested for murder, right?
Yeah.
It was very lonely. It's a very lonely feeling, I thought, that she must have been feeling, and very paranoid. And I think I spoke to Kaila about this before we shot. I said, is she naive that this would happen? And Kaila said, no, she's not naive in any way. Don't play that necessarily. So, kind of going in with kind of all senses and all eyes open to that. It was painful and it was lonely, and sometimes I could even feel that on set. I said, oh my goodness, like this poor girl. But as Lifetime thrillers go and as heroines go, she really kind of said, okay, accepted the truth and said, okay, these people hurt me that I trusted, and I can still persevere. I can still survive. I can still move on with what I know is the truth. And I think that that's a good lesson for anybody. And me as Brianna too, I kind of took that to heart too, and said, wow, everything crashed. Everything she trusted, the rug was completely pulled out from under her. But she was able to find, or she tries, to find some solid ground for herself. And so that was the journey of this character. That was a lot of fun and a little tough to play, you know?
Yeah, great. And for Jonathan, as an actor, how did you navigate Matt's conflicting emotion between love, loyalty, and discovering unsettling truth? Truth?
No, surrender and trust. Surrender and trust. You surrender to what's on the page, and you trust the people you're working with. So Brianna and I have worked together multiple times, and at this point it's just so wonderful because the not only within the professionalism, but just the ease and the trust of being able to know your scene partner is going to bring it. And it's not, if I need help with something, or if I can bounce things off with her, I respect her opinion and her point of view, and even what I'm giving. So if I do a scene and the coverage is on me, you're like, how was that? Was that okay? Was that? And she's like, yeah, okay, this. Or she's like, oh, did that read this way? And I'll be like, oh, I can see that. How could we possibly do one more? And it's just so valuable. And I think surrender and trust is the only way to get through those layers within this kind of a movie. And it's yeah. So
It's nice.
I'm just
Yeah.
grateful I have a chance to work. Yeah.
It's nice because, I can say a few things, a few anecdotes. One, when I started here in this kind of Lifetime world, John was my lead man for my second movie. And as I said, we've done now multiple movies together, and he's taught me so much about prep, so much about on screen and off screen, about, lighting and how to be on the camera, using the camera, and, scene work anyway, and then off, what snacks you need, who does the dry cleaning the best and the cheapest, whatever, where to order, blah, blah, blah. So I owe him so much. But there's, like, I remember two little fun snippets. I can only imagine, which we probably hope it's like, an actor's dream when you get on like a series or something that, you can work with people and know them professionally throughout months and months, years, seasons. You get to kind of know how to work with them, use their strengths, which are your weaknesses, blah, blah, blah. And it becomes a really beautiful thing. So, it's a blessing when you're able to work with somebody over and over again and kind of get to know them and support each other. I remember we were doing that car scene. It was like one of the last scenes. This was on another film, Sisters on the Run. It's one of the last scenes that we shot. And we were in this car, and it was this big thing. I wasn't feeling great, and we weren't really getting the scene. And I just remember, and I'll never forget, John I was like, I think I asked you, or you did it. You just like tapped my back. You're just like, it's okay. And it just gave me fuel to like do another 2 takes. You know what I mean? Just like as a friend, he was just like, it's okay. You're doing a good job. We're gonna keep going. And to have those type of people to work with, like you said, that you trust as a friend and, professionally, it's great. So that's all you hope for, in any working environment.
The subtlety stuff, when we have that opportunity to notice the little things within our humanity as we're doing the scene, because it's challenging. You have all the pressure, all the weight, all the stuff is happening. You can wake up and it's just like, I wake up and it's a rough day, and dialogue's not hitting, it's just not flowing the way that I expected it to. And after multiple movies, Brianna, just even have to, it's not about throwing a temper tantrum. People know us and care, like our scene partner, because we've worked together for so long, Brianna can just kind of like notice, oh, John's feeling a little off today. It could be something at home. It could be just, maybe his mom or his dad or something's going on. And so we're able to love and support each other through the moments. But it's those little subtleties and that you only really pay attention to if you know somebody and you get to be fortunate enough to spend that much time with them. And then you can kind of help them through it to show up for the moment. So it's those little things are really so valuable. I just wanted to throw that out there.
Or when I have a stomach ache, I always
but
too much coffee.
What was the
yeah. Because I'll eat whatever trash they'll serve us. But we had good food on this shoot. What was that other moment? Remember one of the moments we were having a flashback, by the coat rack, and John looked, and we did it maybe 3 or 4 times, which is a luxury in this type of filmmaking. And he said, "Oh, I really saw you track that one, in that take." And so that's that's always nice, to be able to kind of bounce off each other like that.
Yeah, it's everything. It's everything. So valuable.
What messages or insights do you hope audiences take away from the story of Jessica's in Secret Love Triangle? Is for both of you.
Oh, do you want to go first?
Yeah. I think that I mean it's deep. No, I think that on the surface you could say, oh, you can't trust anybody. You know what I mean? It's you trust people and they backstab you, or they, and people can become scared and they can become hardened about experiences like that. But I think that there's a a resurrection of her own self autonomy and her own self-worth, and the people that she meets in jail support her. And it's like when you think things are really bad, there's a light at the end of the tunnel, and you can kind of find that strength within yourself, and forgive kind of things that happen. And the truth prevails, so it prevails for her. And I hope people kind of find strength watching her journey and don't lose hope in still loving people, and not being afraid to get hurt, because you'll wind up on your feet, with the support of others.
Great. Jonathan?
I think there is a relentless pursuit for the truth that is really interesting with this movie. And I was saying she never accepted the verdict. She knew the truth and she was relentless in figuring it out. And within that, discovering a lot of things. But I think it's so important within all of our personal journeys as humans to know your truth and to go after it. And I think that's one of the biggest things within the story.
Agreed.
Great. And for both of you, if you can you tease something about your next projects?
Am I
together or not together?
Well, you've filmed a few in the past few months, no?
Yeah, I mean, I have a handful that'll be coming out next year and stuff. Brianna and I are doing another movie next year. I probably best to leave it, a mystery for the moment.
But it will be different.
We're starting off the year.
It will be different than people have seen.
Very different than this one. And I think, and different for us. I think it's going to be a really cool, it's going to be a great project. And we start the year off with it, and it's going to be a lot of fun.
Great. Do you want to add something, Brianna?
So I shot something that was really exciting. I shot something in Utah. It was kind of I guess a family-friendly movie. It was an adventure rescue story about a young boy. It's a true story about a young boy that gets trapped in a mine in Utah, and I play a deputy, Deputy Evans, which was a lot of fun. I loved my wardrobe for that film, and it was just gorgeous terrain. I know John shot up in Montana a few times, and it was my kind of first time being in the mountains and kind of shooting like that in the wilderness, and it was really cool, and it was a great group of people, and I got to do some traveling, and then yeah, I'm starting the year off with John again. We're doing something really fun, and I hope everybody stays tuned for that.
Great. And that's it. Thank you so much for being with me today, Saturday.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you.
And remember that Secret Love Triangle will premiere Saturday, December 29th, only on Lifetime Channel.
Beautiful.
Woo!
Thank you for watching. Bye.
Bye. Thank you.